Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all well. Different setting to normal. I'm currently home sitting. It's a bit echoey, so please just take that into consideration. But I recently, and by recently 2 days before filming slash uploading, because I'm going to try my best to upload this the day I'm filming it, since seeing a show that I really want to talk about. So stick with me, because today we're going to talk about Once, the musical, that is currently until the 19th of August, which is Saturday if you're watching this on the video, on the day this video goes live. This will be at the Barn Theatre in Cirencester. So if you want to know my thoughts and feelings, then stick around and we'll get into it in 2 whole seconds. So, yes, this show I thought I was going to miss, I'm not going to lie. Like with many shows this year, I have been very much like, oh my god, I really want to see it, and times have just not been my friend, and then all of a sudden they announced we're just going to extend it a little bit longer, and things happened. I made a choice and I went to see the Barnes production of Once, which had its good graces to extend for just 1 extra week and finish this Saturday on the 19th. So some of you might know, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you may know that I actually saw a production, or a one-off concert, although it was like 2 in a day, but anyway, kind of one-off production of Once in concert at the Palladium. Why did that sound wrong in my head? It was the Palladium. At the Palladium earlier this year, that starred the likes of Carrie Hope-Fletcher and Jamie Moscato, just to name 2. Did I just call him by a wrong name? Jamie Moscato. Feel like I called him a sugar. Anyway, what? So I saw that back in, I want to say April, but I could be wrong, dates are not my friend, and I thought, okay, I've seen one production of it, I have been in love with the show for many years, one concert production will be enough. And then the Barn announced that they were going to be doing a run of Once, the musical, in their lovely little theatre. And I was like, oh my god, I'd really like to go and see that. And Cirencester isn't so far away from the Midlands that it's crazy. And I also have family and friends in the southwest. So I was like, oh my god, I can do it, I can do it. And then I looked at the dates and I was like, oh, I can't do it because I'm either in London or on holiday or working. And then they were like, you know what? We've enjoyed it so much, we're just going to do it for 1 extra week and we're going to finish it on the 19th. And I was like, yes, I can do that, I can 100% do that. And I did it. I went on a Tuesday evening to the Tuesday production, the first one of the final week, and I was so grateful to be in that place. So the backstory to this show, it has a book that is by Edna Walsh. That book is based on the film the same name, which had been produced by John Carney, and the music and lyrics are written in this show by Glenn Hansard and Marketa Urgalova. Probably saying that incorrectly. The story of this show is such a soft spot for me. It's kind of a 2 people bump into each other, but there is things going on in both of their lives. There is joy, there is humour, there is just something about it. There is heart, there is soul. It makes me laughing makes me cry. It's just something about this show. It just does something to me. It has such a soft spot in my life. Top that off with the fact that most of the music played is played by active musicians, and we all know how I feel about that. It's just one of my favourite shows to just sit and listen to, I'm not gonna lie, but to sit and watch it in the flesh twice in 1 year is absolutely excellent. Now let's get into this production itself. So the Barn Theatre in Cirencester, or just on the outskirts of Cirencester if you want to be technical, is a glorious little theatre. I've never visited there before this week and I didn't know what to expect, but it just felt so homely and welcome. It's not a large area. I believe someone said it holds about 200 people, 200 seats, and the theatre is literally one small waiting room with a bar at the end of it, and then the auditorium next to that with its seating in, and at the end of that seating is a stage. But it just felt like the perfect place to put this, because the show is in a way so intimate and so special, and so just to be part of that small amount of people's lives for the space of what is technically about a week just works so excellently with what the barn is all about. It just felt so intimate and special, and it just worked absolutely amazingly. Choreography for the show and the direction is done by Dominic Shaw, and I just think that he worked so well with the space that they had. It felt like no part of either the stage or the auditorium where people aren't sitting is not used, and it just worked so cleverly, and I was really impressed with how it all worked. And I just think the way that it was directed and choreographed just made 100% sense. I also quite enjoyed the fact that most of the work done by the show was done by the actors themselves. There is a small amount of set which has been designed by Sophia Pardon, but it's not a great amount. There is about 2 movable blocks, and there is also a piano, and then there's musical instruments at the back of the stage which have been just placed there because they need to be there, and everything else moves on and off the stage and is moved really cleverly by everyone involved on that stage. I especially enjoyed the use of the blocks that are movable for their various uses. Sometimes they're used for chairs, sometimes they're used as part of a car, which I thought was absolutely ingenious, and how I'd missed that in the first act, I don't know. But when it got put together in Act 2, I was just like, oh, of course it is, that's what it's been the whole time. It was just so cleverly done. And also its use at the forefront of the stage during the parts of the show where the Czech language is supposed to be used. The actors on stage were speaking in English, but the Czech translation was kind of projected onto those blocks, and although I've never spoken a word of Czech in my life, it was really nice to see the written language there in full view for all to see during those moments, because otherwise you're taking away such a pivotal point of one half of the main character's stories, and without that it just wouldn't make any sense. And I just really enjoyed the way it was done. The cast of this show were absolutely amazing at working together to create this so truly emotionally raw story to life. At the forefront of this show is the two lead characters, Guy and Girl, who were played amazingly by Sarah Moss and Thomas Wolstenholme. The pair of them together were absolutely amazing and their chemistry was absolutely incredible. Sarah's portrayal of Girl was so unbelievably special. Like I said, it is an intimate space, it's an enclosed space, but it just works so well. Sarah's facial expressions and even just like looking into her eyes when she's speaking and going through so much of a whirlwind during that short-ish show was just so amazing to watch. Watching from her fierce, protective, motherly, powerful character in Act 1 and her initial meeting with Guy, moving the whole way throughout the show to her at the end, who is so like a completely flip side with her in like towards the end of Act 2, with her like almost tormented, almost heartbroken like character. It just was amazing to sit and watch her do her thing with that role, and on top of that, like seeing every single facial feature working her way through the entire show. It was just really interesting to sit and watch, and I really enjoyed watching it. And then working alongside Thomas as Guy, Thomas's voice was absolutely beautiful. Reading the programme in the interval, there is a couple of interviews at the beginning and quite a few mention the fact that they try and make it seem like the whole show seem like a gig and like that kind of feel to it, and Thomas's voice was just like perfect for that kind of role and with his kind of vibe. I just really enjoyed listening to him, and the songs that he sings as part of his part so to speak, you could just feel the emotion and the heartache that those stories were written in mind of, and I just really enjoyed listening to those two together, and also singly. It just was a great pairing, hands down, full stop. Moving on to the rest of the cast, firstly I want to mention the girls' housemates, who are Reza, Svek and Andre, who were played, even, get my teeth in, by Amy Bostani, Thomas Fabian Parish and also Alex Turney. Alex Turney, who is also the musical director of this production and who has taken on the role of Andre for this final week because there was like prior engagements for the previous Andre. They were all incredibly amazing to watch. I did find myself kind of drawn to Alex quite a lot when he was on stage, just because, I don't know, I think part of me was seeing if there was any difference in his performance to the other two housemates, because he's also the musical director. I don't truly know what it is, but my eyes were always drawn towards him. It was just interesting to watch if there was any difference, which I don't think there was, but I did really enjoy watching them do their thing. Amy's movement throughout the show was also really interesting to watch, especially during Act 1 with the song If You Want Me. She was so beautiful to watch throughout that throughout that song, as the character of Girl was singing forefront with a microphone. Amy was performing behind, doing very beautiful work. I don't know what that was going don't know how that sentence was finishing, but it finished. And finally, Thomas's portrayal of Svek was just wonderful too. Everyone's portrayal of their different roles was just top notch. Svek for me is always kind of a slight bit of comedic relief, in a way that there is so much of this show that is very much pulling at your heartstrings, and you feel so much for the characters throughout the show that you just need someone ripping off their trousers and playing hard rock drums to a very like emotional song. You need that laugh every so often, and the way that Thomas performed it was just absolutely top notch. Theo Diedrich, David Shute, Tony Bradford, and also Fiona Bruce completes the cast. Like I said, everyone is amazing at what they do, and they are all a joy to watch. I do have to say, I've seen the show now twice this year, and for me, I don't know why, but for me, the character of Billy has a soft spot in my life. There's something about that character that I get drawn to every single time, and David's portrayal of that character was cementing that fact, full stop. Put a pin in it, do all those things. The character of Billy is one of my favourites. He is funny, he is caring, he is like seriously protective, and just a good all-round good egg. Plus at our show, we had a show stop about 5 minutes into Act 2 due to a technical difficulty, and the whole cast just didn't take a beat once they returned back onto the stage after the issue had been sorted. They all came back, and it was like nothing ever happened. The whole audience, should I say, was right behind them, and we were ready to like applaud everything that was going on, and they just were amazing at what they did. Like I said, I am so unbelievably grateful that they decided to extend for one extra week at the Barn Theatre, because I'm so happy that I saw this production. I will definitely be trying my best to get back to the Barn Theatre sooner rather than later, because it is just such a stunning, lovely, independent feeling theatre. And I feel like in these times where so much money is put into London theatres and the big corporations, just having this small, intimate, loving, caring, truly amazing theatre at our disposal, I feel like we need to have more support for those going forwards. But I loved it. I thought it was amazing. It was full of passion and heart and glorious music and a fantastic cast. I'm so gutted that it is now closing on a Saturday on the 19th of August. Fingers crossed this is not the end for this show, and I just feel like it needs to have like a full-on return to UK theatre sooner rather than later. Put it on in London, put it on a tour, do something with it. We need it back in our lives, because the show is just something special, and this production has 100% cemented that for me. But that is it. I'm going to leave you here and say thank you very much for watching. I hope this hasn't been too echoey. We shall see in edit. I'll try and edit it down if it has. I also am kind of debating bringing back the blog. It has been linked down below in the description for quite a while now, and I haven't been able to do anything with it for a bit. However, all of my notes today have been actually written on my laptop, so I thought I might as well take those notes, make them actually make sense, and upload them if you would prefer to see a written review of this show. And I feel like through writing it, it makes more sense on the whole starring system, which I have begun to put in place in my chatty reviews on this channel. So if you like reading written reviews, then please go and check out the blog, which I will hopefully have remembered to link down below. Fingers crossed. But that is it. I'm going to leave you here and say thank you very much for watching. I'm now going to chuck my hair up because I'm slowly melting in this room. I haven't opened any windows because there is building and trains very nearby, and neither of those, you need them on your audios. So yeah, I'm going to leave this video here. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye everyone.